welcome Astron 2 here. I'm doing like a quick video I felt like doing because I haven't been doing like I haven't published any videos lately. So last time I popped it up, we were basically it was the tutorial for the trailer for the new Azlet map that I released. Well, unfortunately, it got like less attention than I hoped, but whatever. It's not like I actually cared. I just put 8 months of work in it. But whatever, now I'm working on a brand new thing that's hopefully a data pack and not a map because it actually uses world gen. I also have some other people on Discord that help me, so huge thanks to them. Anyways, yeah, this is of course a brand new, you probably guessed it, PvE system, combat system based of course on scoreboards, which is a lot better than the one used in Azlet, which I thought was like already at the peak, but apparently there's still way to improve. So the biggest improvement was the use of fake players for the whole math saving values stuff instead of actual entities, which saves a bit of lag. Also, I tried to limit the use to AD selectors only when strictly necessary. So this should also reduce lag, especially in servers like Eternos. I mean, I'm speaking for experience. Yeah. Basically, what I want to do in this video is show you the whole system and actually show you the code behind it because it's a thing I never done in any of the videos. So yeah. Alright, so as you can see here, there's quite a bit of information that's displayed also in the sidebar. Okay. So first of all, in the hotbar, as you can see, you got here. This works only if we have a melee weapon in the first slot, with the ranged weapon in the second, the armor in the third, and the artifacts in the last 3 slots. So yeah, this is like having Spider from Link of Dungeons, the whole UI. As you can see here, there is display the health. Yeah, ignore these tags, it's temporary. So yeah, the bar goes down when you hit, of course, and you can sneak to heal. Also, when you hold a ranged weapon, the arrows show up, which is actually the offhand item which you can remove. Then I used some custom fonts to make this one, which is actually like hard-coded, which isn't the best, but it works. It's not even that laggy, so it's not too big an issue. So then we got to display the cooldown of the artifacts. It actually uses the item damage tag, so it is very visible. Then to display the player XP, it's just the vanilla level thing, which is a new texture. Then here on the boss bar, yeah, this is just an invisible boss bar. You can see the biome the player is in, the temperature, and how many emeralds he has got, how many emeralds they've got, pronouns, yeah. And yeah, also on the sidebar, I know I'll put some more information there in the future. And also, I think I'm quite proud of is that, as you can see in chat, you can see some sort of effects for player refactoring enchantments, how we wanna hold them, which actually works for the bow as well. And of course, if I have multiple of them, they do stack. So the way I also made the armor isn't on the armor slots, which are like gone, but it's just one slot, and it uses invisible items, but the armor model itself is still visible. And yeah, there's quite a lot of artifacts, and also I just finished working on this, which is the base breaking system, which uses no entities, so you can like have lots of them and it won't lag whatsoever. So yeah, now I'll take you through the actual code. We'll start off from what happens when you do a melee hit, which is like the most complex part of the code. Well, this is the combat code. So everything starts here in the function folder, of course. But first, in the advancements, when you strike a mob, so yeah, basically it checks for any kind of hurt entity which is in the mobs category. Then from that, since you can't, I mean, you could reward the function, but it will bring up some issues which I'm not quite sure what happens. It kind of messes up some scores based on the damage, I don't know. So basically what then happens is that you go in the ticking functions, more specifically the ticking as player. So yeah, it checks if you hit an enemy, it will run the striking functions. So yeah, now here it stores the damage of the item you have. Then it starts doing some math based on what kind of weapon you have, if it's a crit or not. Yeah, also the combos, which is a new feature I added based on how many consecutive hits you deal before getting hit. So yeah, here after you calculate all the damage, here the hurt mob is tagged, and then also there's penetration, which is some sort of raycast that occurs at the hit mob, which also deals damage to the mobs behind it. And here it just calculates the extra damage. It's just a percentage to add to the actual damage. And then there is the part where the mob is actually hit, so that are the commands that are being executed as the hit mob, which basically checks for some mob effects, such as, I don't know, maybe a mob ability that triggers on the item hit. Then it checks for the mob defense, which reduces a percentage of the damage. It calculates the percentage, which is the health bar you can see on top of. Then it uses this just for certain mobs to make them appear red. Then yeah, some weapons also have area damage, so it checks if the hit was fully charged, which means that the damage dealt was more than 10. And if they have the target, will also run some. It will give damage to mobs in a nearby radius. And yeah, then if the mob has less than 0 health, it will die. Now that was the part regarding the strike, but then there's also the ranged part, which is a bit more complex. So here in shoot, there are two advancements. There are two functions that are being rewarded by the ticking one. One for detecting when you shoot, when you shot the arrow, either from a bow or a crossbow, and another one that detects when you hit something. Well, okay. So yeah, and these ones, yeah, no, I think they pretty much tag the arrow so that they give an UID based off the player, so that you can also run some commands of the exact player that has hit a mob based on the UID of the arrow. And also, yeah, when the mob is hit, there's some math that basically calculates the health difference, the actual health difference, not the score, but the mob health tag. It stores it into a score, runs some math so that it's given off as a percentage, then multiplies that percentage of damage by the base damage of the bow or crossbow, adds some extra damage percentage, such as, I don't know, armor abilities or something, and then that total damage is subtracted from the mob's health. But I just added some extra stuff that weren't in the Azrael combat system, which is like the arrow recovery chance, so that when you hit a mob you have a chance to regain the arrow. Then of course there's there's the possibility to make the arrows pierce, and also on pierce to actually accelerate, which basically increases the damage for any mobs after the ones that has been hit. So yeah, this is all possible thanks to the UID scoreboard system, which links the arrow to the player. Also, you can check if it's a headshot using some offset, some commands position that are offset based on the entity, its feet, and where his head is at. So yeah, that's pretty much the part where you shoot. Well, the armor part is pretty straightforward. It basically stores the values in a score, and when you get hit, it means there's nothing too complicated there. Another cool thing is how all of the items are actually generated, meaning that their values can dynamically change. So if you go into the generate folder, so first off, yeah, as you can see, items have a power level, which is indicated underneath their name, and that's basically what determines how much damage they give if they are a weapon, or how much health they give if they are an armor piece. Yeah, then this command basically does some math, gets the right value. For unstackable items such as the armor, which is actually a shulker shell. You don't want them to stack, so they basically have a random numerical tag being added so that they have a different tag, they have different NBT and won't stack. Also, some artifacts won't break, so unless the items are artifacts which have to break in order to have the damage displayed. This one don't need to, so yeah, they are unbreakable. And the goal is to have like the actual item give function with as less code as possible, so that everything gets generated afterwards, so that there isn't much confusion in the give function itself. So for example, the function to give you an exploit is this simple. I mean, all of the extra lore and tags are given afterwards. So yeah, if it's a melee weapon, it also gets it sets the damage to 10, because that's way you need to make the less calculations in order to get the actual damage dealt by the player. And yeah, this stuff basically determines whether the item should be generated in the player's entity, in the player's inventory, so as a /give function, or be dropped or appear in an ender chest based on any given condition. Lastly, we have the mobs. So in the I don't know if you noticed, but there's a difference between the mobs. As you can see, they have new textures. Some mobs have their own textures. That's achieved by using some custom models with actual clear skin textures. And this basically allows you to make a bit more diverse mobs than the usual ones. So yeah, let's just see. Okay, so unfortunately there's no way to actually set some values for the mobs unless you directly put them in their summon data, because there's just too much variation between them. So yeah, first of all, there are some tags or some attributes that determine the mob's attributes, which aren't of course all necessary for every mob. Then there is the golden horse armor item, that is the model I changed in order to achieve the different textures for the mobs. Then of course some armor equipment. Now this is value, the value for which the health is being multiplied by from the global power system. So let's say there is a global power level of 10, then the mob's actual health is 220 times 10 divided by 100 in order to have everything in percentages, which makes it easier to control. Then there is the mob drop XP, which is constant at the mob level. I don't even know why I put it. I mean, in future it might be useful. And also the defense, which appears right next to their name. This is just a percentage of the damage that's being used. Also, yeah, in the setup functions, there is basically a bunch of tags and common traits that are necessary for every mob, so that I don't actually have to put it in the every summon function. Yeah, pretty basic stuff. And also, yeah, here the mob's health is being calculated. And yeah, also there are some cool items which is being present in the artifact section. I mean, these are just some of the ones I made, which are like a lot. So the soul system, you see the types may change in the future, also based on. So yeah, there are also some other artifacts, and some of the coolest ones I made are the chainsaw and this one's still missing the model, but and there you go. So the chainsaw uses a custom sound too, so yeah, it actually uses a custom sound every time you click, so it actually gives the vibe of a chainsaw. So it, because there was no sound in Minecraft that was even close to the one of a chainsaw. Then we got the Soviet launcher, which shoots this thing, which actually goes wherever you're looking, so you can like actually curve it based on where you're looking at. And it's not very practical, but it's cool. So it also pierces enemies, which is nice. And also, yeah, I've been working very hard in order to make all these items multiplayer compatible, because when you're working with entity projectiles, it's very hard. I mean, it gets a bit complicated in the long term to make it all multiplayer compatible due to the amount of lag that can occur when you're dealing with lots of entities and math. But I think I pulled it off like in a fairly decent way, meaning that it won't be as lag as I thought it could be. That's a nice bonus. This is charges with lightning. As you can see, the effect appears here inside. So when I hit a mob, it basically runs a raycast through him, sort of simulating first attacks. I was kind of thinking about that when I made it. So yeah, also mobs have custom loot, of course. And I think I mean, I'm also working on a lore, so there will be kind of some quest to follow. So yeah, this is the project name, Venus. And yeah, I mean, this is the first, I don't know, spoiler or clue to the story itself. Yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching.